Hey everybody, and welcome to the Holotapes weekly podcast. We are on week number 10. Congratulations to us on getting to week 10 because we are so awesome. And I know you guys love us, and we love you. So today I'm joined by my always wonderful and lovely and intelligent and whatever other comments that I can't think of right now, co-host Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan.
You're welcome. I'm also joined by Monty.
What's up, guys? Long time no see.
And I'm also joined by our guest today, CJ.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, CJ.
CJ, it's wonderful to have you on.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have you on. We've seen you around on Reddits and Twitters and other social medias, and glad that we could have a fan. Glad that we could have a fan come on.
Wait, we have fans?
We have like 200 fans, Monty. Can you believe it?
Holy shit! I haven't been going that long.
You actually have quite a large following.
I may be exaggerating a little bit. It might be like 125 to 150, but but
you have five at my college.
5 at your college?
I've been spreading you guys around.
Thank you.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Glad
pretty
we
awesome that we
college
can
population.
be bringing the Fallout community together like this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so today, your weekly dollar is actually, you don't have to spend money at all. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go on your computer, where you're probably listening to this right now, and I want you to go and look up your nearest blood bank or nearest place that you can donate blood or plasma, and I want you to go and do that. Did you know that 1 in 8 people who go into a hospital need a blood transfusion at some point while they're there? There's always a shortage of blood. It doesn't matter what type you are. Go and give some blood. Go donate. Just do it. I don't care if you have a disease that prevents you from giving blood. Find some other way to give, whether that be going and volunteering at these places, giving your time, or perhaps finding what you can donate. Because I know that some people who have, for example, certain diseases can't give out their blood, but they can give their platelets. So look that up. Figure out how you can give a part of your body today. Oh, the other thing that you can do: get on your organ donation list for your country or state and do that. It's a great thing to do. And do that. So blood donation or organ donation. Do it.
There are so many things I wanted to say about that.
I'm an organ donor too, Jordan. I'm ignoring what you're saying, Monty.
Good, please.
What did you have to say about blood donation?
No, I'm not going to say it. I want to keep this in line. Straight-laced.
All right. On to today's actual thingamajig. I'm sorry, guys. I'm running off of 2 hours of sleep. I didn't even clarify sleep. I just said 2 hours and expect you guys to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Who needs sleep?
I do. Thanks.
Unless you're playing on hardcore mode, that is.
I'm playing on hardcore mode in real life. Gotta drink a lot of water, eat some food, get some sleep, doctor's bags for crippled limbs, etc., etc. Yeah. Fan questions from the Twitters. First question is from Luke Arthur. Hi, Luke Arthur. I enjoy your patronage. I've seen you on Reddit and on Twitter, and I appreciate the fact that you apparently favorite every single tweet that we put out. And
I appreciate it. It boosts my ego and makes me feel better about tweeting.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's great. But today, I'm kind of mad at you because you sent in a question that made my blood boil. Should Fallout's leveling system be like Skyrim?
Okay, first off, what doesn't make your blood boil?
That is a very good question. Fallout doesn't make my blood boil.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. But anyways, my personal answer to this question is fuck you and no.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The lazy part of me says yes. Just because it's so easy to level up certain things. Oh shit, I need a higher lockpick level. Let me just sit here and fuck up for a few hours.
Or go to trainers and pay your way to a better level.
It never made sense, the leveling system of Skyrim. Just very repetitive actions like blacksmithing, where I think that's what it was called, where you could make, 1,000 daggers or something like that, 1,000 iron daggers, and suddenly you become,
you're able to work with Dragonbone and...
Yeah, apparently, doing that 1,000 times makes you amazing at just...
Practice makes perfect, no?
But yeah, well, working with iron is one thing. In real life, if I knew how to make a dagger out of wood, would I suddenly be able to know how to make a dagger out of every single metal and know,
Yeah, well,
it doesn't really make sense.
I'm gonna take a middle ground here. I'm gonna say that I hope Fallout 4 takes a middle ground between, I hope they don't get rid of skill points and special and all that jazz that makes Fallout. But I hope there's something, they take something from Skyrim, and if you're constantly repairing your weapons or something, or constantly healing yourself with Stimpaks, that will give you an extra skill point or two, just at random. You know what I'm saying?
That's an interesting idea.
Like, I think that's kind of what they'll do, because I don't think they'll totally get rid of what, Fallout has established, because that would piss a lot of people off. But I also think they want to improve on themselves and, take notes from the previous games. So that's what I feel they should do.
I think they need to work more on the RPG mechanics, because in my opinion, I don't think Skyrim was a very good RPG. And the first two were very heavily reliant on, RPG mechanics. And I don't...
Are you talking about how in Skyrim and in Oblivion you really don't have a choice in your actions?
Yeah, exactly.
Or much less so than you do in Fallout.
I hate to bring it up, but in Skyrim and in the Fallout 3, maybe less so in Fallout New Vegas, but it's still there. You could be kind of sort of a jack of all trades, whereas I shouldn't be able to have 100 skill in big guns because I fire at a wall or something like that, or I shouldn't have 100% or I shouldn't have 100 repair because I just keep repairing my pistol. There should be some, I guess, consequence.
It's got to be deeper. It's got to be deeper than that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I shouldn't be able to kind of with the blacksmithing, I guess, is a good metaphor. I shouldn't be able to build a sandcastle and then be able to build an entire bridge or something. I guess that would be a good comparison to it. And I don't know. I think they need to. I think Skyrim was a step back in that direction, but I know that they'll probably use something from Skyrim. They're not going to abandon it completely, but I think they should really be careful.
Yeah, but I think that Bethesda has kind of improved on the RPG mechanics of Fallout, because you can be more of who you want to be in, say, Fallout 3 New Vegas than you could in Fallout 1, from what I've played of it. Because Fallout 1, you have to pick from a certain set of characters in the beginning, and they have these certain traits established already.
You can create your own character.
You can still change them. Yeah, you can still change them and stuff. But it's harder to be like a jack of all trades, or something. You really gotta specialize at something in the older Fallouts, more so than in the newer Fallout.
I guess
I would much rather have to specialize than be a jack of all trades. It's just way too easy when you can be good at everything, and it's kind of unrealistic.
I don't know, I'm pretty good at everything.
I know how to fire all types of guns and stuff.
Really?
It should be a jack of all trades, master of nothing, but it seems like you're a master of everything by the time.
Wait, Jordan, let's take that back for a second. You know how to fire a rocket launcher?
Definitely.
Really?
I played bassoon in high school, so how much different can it be?
Depending on how well you take care of bassoon, it could turn into a rocket launcher of spit.
No, I was much better about cleaning it out than that.
Oh, man.
Good question.
Yeah, it was a really good question. Still makes my blood boil thinking about it. If there was if it was purely a Skyrim leveling,
that would piss a lot of people off.
Oh my god,
yeah,
that would piss me off.
I think that skill points are great in Fallout. I think that it's a great mechanic, and I think that because it's been around for so long, there's definitely no way that they're going to change it too much.
Yeah, but there's also no way after all these years since Fallout 3 and after Skyrim being the success that it was, that they're not going to incorporate elements from Skyrim into Fallout 4. It's just not feasible for them not to.
Here's the thing that I thought that they might do. You know how perks work in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas? I think everybody knows about that. I think that what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to take the idea of perks from Skyrim, which is where in Skyrim you had perks that were associated with different skills. So within Fallout you would now have things where if you would have general perks that you could just get at certain levels, and then you'd also have perks where they were more associated with specific skills than they were in 3 or New Vegas.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Because there were certain... Go ahead.
Wasn't Skyrim's perk leveling system, wasn't that skill based where you had to unlock
you had to unlock one perk and then the next perk and then the next perk, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that would work?
I don't think that a skill tree would work. I think that let's say I want to get jury rigging, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to level up my repair skill enough, but I also only have a specific amount of points to use in repair. So let's say there are a total of 3 perks within the repair section. It's not a tree because they're not connected.
Okay.
And I get to level 90 repair, and it gives me 1 perk point within repair, and I can pick from one of those 3.
Yeah, but I think the thing that would stop Bethesda from doing that is that in Fallout 3, the base game, you only get 30 levels, right?
30 levels.
So it's kind of hard for them to do that. To get to jury rigging, if they made 5 perks in that skill tree, say, then if you got that, that'd be 6 levels wasted. Or if it's New Vegas, that'd be 12 levels wasted. Just trying to get jury rigging. So I don't think that would work unless they added more levels.
I wish they would get rid of the level cap.
Yeah, the level cap does kind of suck.
Yeah. So if they don't get rid of that, that would kind of handicap that.
Yeah. Speaking of the level cap, one thing that they could do with that is they could make it so that way after a specific level, let's say they want to make the soft cap at 50, and then after trying to get from 50 to 51, all of a sudden becomes 10 times harder than it was to get from 49 to 50.
Yeah.
That would make more sense. So they could have a soft cap, and then they could have a hard cap at like 1,000.
Yeah, and maybe something along the lines of the legendary skills in Skyrim that they added post-launch.
Where you can set them back to 0?
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
They need to make it an investment. An investment, though. I don't know. I felt like you could do that way too easily in Skyrim. Like, if you're going to reset everything, you better... I feel like they should make it a big responsibility. Like, okay, you can't do this again, or you can't give us 200 caps and reset everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I didn't play Skyrim long enough to get to legendary skills, so...
You need to play it again.
You need to play more Skyrim right now.
I don't know. I'm on Jordan's side. It was that main story. I mean, Bethesda have never been like amazing writers, but that main story was just.
I will agree. It was on par with Fallout.
Yeah, it was
and
pretty
I thought
weak.
that they had moved past that.
I thought their Civil War was pretty good because that actually introduced something that I really want in the next one. I'm gonna get off topic. Hold on.
Except the battles were really lackluster, but
Yeah. But it was a nice gray moral story. So I really hope they kind of take that writing style of, this isn't necessarily the good guy and that's not the bad guy.
Well, if the next Fallout story isn't like the best story that they've made so far, I will be disappointed because that's not a real high bar to live up to.
All right, here's what I want to say before we move on to the next question. If you are complaining about Fallout 4 and you're worried that it's going to be good or bad or whatever, you're worried they're going to add this and that, they've been making this game for at least 5 years now.
Yeah.
Minimum. They started in 2010.
Yep.
So
and the longer they keep putting off the release, the more expectations are going to go up.
This is true, but you have to imagine that at 5 years, this game is going to be really good. We all know how Bethesda operate. We all know how Bethesda operates. They make these huge, wonderful games with huge storylines. Maybe not the best written story, but they are very, very large.
I mean, I have a ton of confidence in Bethesda as a game developer, but they're really putting the pressure on them with this one. Like, it's just, there's so much to live up to right now.
I really do think that they learn, though. I really do think after everything, because we know that they frequent the subreddit and, a bunch of forums or whatever. I really do think they've seen the Obsidian can write a better story. And I really think they've taken that to heart and are kind of thinking, okay, we really
I'm not sure about that.
Here's
honestly,
the thing.
I really don't think Bethesda gives a fuck about what anyone really thinks. I mean, because if they did, they would have, announced Fallout 4 already.
No, that's not true. Monty, stop. That's announcing Fallout 4 is a marketing thing. We're talking about game design and game.
Yeah, but they're not going to stress over. Some people said that Obsidian made a better story than we did, so we got to really make sure we do this better.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Is that they're going to learn from Fallout 3 where they can't just break the lore where they want to.
Well, they didn't really break the lore though.
Are you kidding me?
They didn't break it. Jordan, we talked about this before, and you agreed.
Yes, I agree, but you have to admit that those things should not have been on the East Coast. Let's leave
Brotherhood and the Enclave?
Brotherhood, Enclave, Super Mutants, Herald.
Well, I mean, Herald is a different thing. But, I mean, they couldn't... I mean, Fallout 3, I really think it should have been just a reboot of the franchise instead of adding the 3 moniker to it. Because then that made people say that it broke all the lore and shit. Because, I mean, if it was Fallout 3 was just without the Brotherhood or the Enclave or anything from the previous games, just because it was set in the East Coast, and they're like, oh, it's impossible for them to get over there, then it wouldn't have been Fallout anyway. It would have felt like something different.
All right, we're going to cut this conversation off because I think that this is better suited for a different place and a different time.
Oh, please invite me during that time, please. I would love it.
and Monty, I think that you and I will get into a fight if we continue this any longer.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It definitely would not. So let's continue on with the next fan question from Gerald Camp at NCR Ambassador. If you were to design a vault, what would be the social experiment / evil plan be?
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's a good question.
That's one thing I think Bethesda did a lot better than the originals, is they made really fun vaults that were really cool, interesting social experiments.
Yeah, they definitely turned... Vault Tech definitely became a much more menacing corporation, a much more menacing factor in all of the games
absolutely.
after 3.
Yeah. What would be a good experiment?
I can't remember what it's called, but there's an experiment in the 70s, I think, might have been 80s, where they took a bunch of college students and they divided them in half, and half were the guards of the prison and half were the prisoners.
The Stanford Prison Experiment.
Yes.
Oh, I saw that movie.
And they ended up having to close it down within 2 days.
Yeah, a lot of that story gets exaggerated, but yeah, that would definitely be an interesting one to see on a larger scale.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that in that case, it probably wouldn't be prisoners and guards. It would probably be the higher and lower class.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea. I think maybe a vault that was focused on doing a straight rendition of communism, just straight communism, following Karl Marx to a T, something like that. Just everybody gets the same amount of stuff. I mean, it kind of Vault 101, but times 10. You got a very strict overseer, a very strict set of rules. Everyone is the same. Everyone is equal.
Well, isn't Karl Marx communism? Doesn't that have a lack of a leader?
Yes.
Well, I mean, there's no way to really implement Karl Marx's communism because, the leader's always going to be in a higher position. So, I mean, that would be the story of the Vault. They try to do this straight communism thing, but the overseer ends up being, this super powerful godlike figure.
That would work really well for the themes of it too, because we all know that Fallout is very patriotic, or not patriotic, but it's very much a gung-ho, in-your-face America style type thing.
Yeah,
it's
a very nationalist kind of.
Yeah,
I think
it's a preferable alternative to communism.
Yeah, we always the book shoot, Liberty Prime, those would all those are always the first thing that come up. So I think that would be nice for just to have another kind of joke going around saying, oh look, it still fails. I think that'd be a good one. Yeah.
Unless it's the only one that succeeds, in which case that would be hilarious.
And then they try to cover it up or something please don't come in.
That's actually pretty funny.
Something, and then it's a utopia.
Yeah, here's the problem with that is I don't think that Vault-Tec would want that to happen because Vault-Tec was also very much for the war and for promoting anti-communist sentiments.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because there's that.
So maybe they want to do this. Maybe they want to do this Vault experiment as showing this can't work, and then somehow it actually works, and they try to cover it up, and you see them just all die or something.
Those little
try to put together the pieces.
Read from terminals or something today. We all starve.
It's pretty nice. I can see the quest already. False utopia. I can see it already.
That would be very interesting. Be interesting to see it with some of the other forms of government too. Be really interesting to see it with pure fascism. Be interesting to see it with corporatism.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd also really like to see some of these vaults they've mentioned that are really far out there, Vault 69.
I have no desire to see that one.
I want to see some of these.
That one's
and the one with with a crate full of puppets or whatever. I want to see some of these crazy vaults.
Which one's the one with the panther in it?
Yeah, the one with the panther. Yeah, I want to see that one.
That one's not real. It's not part of the war.
Damn it.
Well, what if you made a vault with a whole bunch of just exotic animals and just about 10 people and with just a ton of exotic animals?
Like a Noah's Ark kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That'd be a good one too. Monty's on point today.
I know. Whatever they show, I don't want to see the puppet vault.
Well, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, just to see.
That'd make for a good random encounter, though. If that guy, if you were to just cross paths with him.
I mean, maybe it's a really small vault, so I mean, they don't have to spend a whole lot of time making it this big deal.
Yeah, here's the thing though. It's only one guy. You wouldn't be able to run into him as an NPC. He'd be dead.
Well, he could have carried on his story. He could have had kids or something. You don't know.
Well,
here's a question. How would he have kids if he's the only one there?
No, I mean, no. Well, at the end of that story, he leaves the vault.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could have left and had kids.
That's why you're able to find the jumpsuit at Paradise Falls in Fallout 3. You can actually listen to the holotape, and I think it's one of the slavers is I'm not messing with this guy. He's too crazy even for me. So I think that'd be a pretty cool random encounter to get where you try talking to him and he's just absolutely insane.
Yeah. Well, if I can rattle off a third idea here because I'm just on a roll right now. I was reading this post on the Fallout Reddit about this Fallout Hawaii thing that they're
I saw that
working on. And
I haven't read it.
Besides that is really interesting, and I want to see that happen 100%. People mentioned vaults that were underwater, an underwater vault. I think that'd be pretty cool too.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, they already made that game called
Well, I mean,
that's what I was thinking about, the
underwater
vaults
vault
with the different kinds of government. I was an Anne Rind one, and then I was oh wait, that game exists, so
they should make a floating vault,
A
floating
floating
one in
vault.
the sky.
Exactly.
Maybe, vault in the sky.
Maybe Columbia or something. I'll work out the details.
Call it Columbia.
I'll email it after this.
Yes, Bethesda, please rip off other games.
Let's not do
a good Easter egg.
The vault that I had in mind was there is no technology in the vault, just none.
How can there not be technology in a vault? It is the most high-tech thing possible.
No. Here's the thing: you have automatically opening and closing doors. However, there are no jumpsuit extruders. Instead, you have supplies to make jumpsuits by hand. You have no safety, I shouldn't say safety, what's the word I'm looking for? No pit boys, no radios, no computers.
So hell.
The word that I was looking for was food preservation areas, but there was larger farming areas and more raw resources.
Well, that would be pretty cool, like in an old school vault.
Yeah, an Amish vault.
Yeah, an Amish vault.
I'm sure you could work that in the little lore somewhere.
Well, if there's ever a Fallout that takes place in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, I'm sure you will see that.
You know what? That might be DLC if we do end up seeing a game that's made in Boston.
Yeah, you never know.
The Amish DLC.
Fallout Breaking Amish.
What's that? What was that stupid show on the Discovery here, the History Channel? Yeah, the Amish Mafia.
Oh my God, that show was great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Even though it was most likely fake.
Yeah, it was fake. It was all supposedly reenactments of real things, but I doubt that they actually happened.
And I have relatives that live in Lancaster, and they never even heard of that.
When you get locked in the silo, it's a great show.
Yeah, he just gets locked in the silo and you don't know what happened to him.
Alright, off topic again. Oh my gosh.
Well, Jordan, you started that one, so you have no one to blame.
That was my fault.
But that was another great question, by the way.
You guys have the best questions. Our last question is from Twitter, @QuietSigh. Why can't I sleep?
Because you're on Twitter?
You're talking to yourself.
Maybe he's running off 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that guy sounds really tired. He should get some sleep.
Yeah. I think there's sleep doctors for you, Jordan.
Probably.
The number for one.
I haven't slept very well in the last few days. All right, honestly, we're moving on. Topic of the day: economics.
Economics.
All right, so CJ and I were having a little bit of a discussion about this before the podcast started, and he mentioned that he remembers reading something about bottle caps on the East Coast breaking the lore. Why don't you go ahead and explain that one?
So I'm not, the most knowledgeable about Fallout. I think I do a pretty good job. I'm pretty obsessed, so that's always good. But
yeah,
from what I understand is bottle caps in the first Fallout, so Fallout 1, were only a currency because of the hub. The hub accepted them. If you guys don't know the hub, it was basically like the trading capital. It's where you can...
it was one of the states in the new California Republic.
Yeah, it was. So the only reason that bottle caps even became like a form of currency, especially with, there's still pre-war money out there, is because the hub wanted it to be that way. Go ahead.
It's so awesome and funny. How could they not take that into Fallout 3?
Exactly.
That's the only reason I can actually think of.
Lore-wise, because the Water Trade, the Fargo Traders, and Crimson Caravan all are excessively large companies that have been recorded trading as far out as Arizona and the Midwest.
As far out as southwestern China.
I don't think that that's true.
No, I just made that up.
But you have to imagine if, let's say, Crimson Caravan meets up with a caravan that works out of...
Texas.
Not Texas. I was thinking further north, like Oklahoma. And they're taught
wow, a whole one state above Texas. I'm sorry.
Monty,
shut up.
T-shirts coming soon.
Yeah, actually, okay. So no, legitimately, I'm gonna take a second. I'm actually gonna be making T-shirts. You just have to give me a few weeks to make them look good because I want them to look really good.
You have to make them by hand.
I'm trying. They're going to be sold on Redbubble, and half of the proceeds from those will go to charity, and the other half will go to us. That way we can improve our content. Done and done.
Yay.
Anyways, back on topic.
I'll buy 12.
Yeah, everybody should buy 12. Exactly 12. If you buy any more, I'm going to be mad.
What about
back on topic. Let's say the Crimson Caravan moves all the way out to Oklahoma or Texas or whatever. They're out there trading. They meet up with another caravan company out there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we use these bottle caps. They're really hard to replicate. They don't wear down as quickly as pre-war money does, et cetera, et cetera." And so this new caravan's like, "Oh no way, that actually works really well." So they report it back to their bosses. Their bosses start to accept it, and then it moves on to being this sort of thing where it just sort of takes over.
Either that or their bosses were like, "You accepted bottle caps for money."
That's true.
But realistically, they're not exactly. They're easy enough to find that it would make it a good currency, but hard enough to find that it would still not cause super inflation.
Yeah, and bottle caps using the technology that they have, it would be pretty hard to manufacture. Other than, I should say, it'd be hard to manufacture in large quantities. Other than, for example, the NCR, if they really wanted to, they could make more bottle caps, which is why they ended up making their own currency. The Legion is the same way.
Well, I always thought that if there was some sort of apocalyptic thing and then society bounced back, that they would just go back to using like precious metals as currency, because that's what was used for thousands of years.
Yeah, that's a good point. But here's the thing: precious metals were done because they looked pretty, especially gold. So many people in the world have not been near a solid chunk of gold. I have, when I was on a geology tour, and they had a gold that hadn't been refined yet. It was just a rock, and you pick it up, and it feels so hefty, and it glitters so nicely.
Did you pocket it?
No, there was security.
Over-encumbered.
Over-encumbered, yes. But you get the sense about these metals: silver, gold, platinum. You feel them in your hand, you see them, they are fucking gorgeous. And it's why a lot of people attributed value to them. It's why people attribute value to gems as well. Now imagine, out of the wasteland, you find these beautiful star-looking things that have all these different designs on them, and you find them all over the place. And you're like, wow, these are, they're hard to manufacture. They're hard to find. All of a sudden, you have another currency that works just like gold.
I never thought of it that way before. That makes sense.
Also, if you notice, gold is still worth a lot in the game.
41,000 caps piece. Wasn't that the number, or am I wrong?
Something like that. Enough to make you want to put on something so that you can carry every single damn one of them out of the vault.
Oh, yeah.
That was a nice touch, though. I love that about that DLC.
It's about letting go.
Yeah, and then here you are trying to walk out of the vault, trying to sneak past Elijah.
Yeah, they are worth 10,539 caps apiece. So, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things. The other good thing about bottle caps, very, very easy to carry around, especially compared to gold or silver.
That's true.
I could carry 5,000 bottle caps in a bag pretty easily and just carry it around. It wouldn't be that heavy. Speaking of which, you can actually buy about Nuka-Cola bottle caps online.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you can also make them pretty easily.
Yeah, you could as well. But I'll put a link to the site that you can buy them. It's a site that's designed for people who brew their own beer to be able to buy caps, and like specially designed bottle caps and things like that. But somebody designed a Nuka-Cola bottle cap, and they sell those as well.
I kind of just want an actual Nuka-Cola bottle that has Nuka-Cola in it. I really want to know what it tastes like.
Isn't the recipe somewhere?
There's a lot of different recipes. Here's the thing.
Bethesda made some for Fallout 3 when they came out, but
yeah.
I don't want to know what it tastes like. It probably tastes like really gross Dr. Pepper.
200-year-old Dr. Pepper?
Yeah. I got into a discussion with somebody on the Fallout subreddit about this, and they wondered what it tasted like, and my suggestion was that it tasted a lot like Dr. Pepper, but the prevailing taste was barrel cactus fruit.
I've never had a barrel cactus fruit.
Never want to have Nuka-Cola now.
Yeah, but because of the recipe for the homemade Nuka-Cola in Fallout New Vegas was barrel cactus fruit, Nevada agave nectar, and something else, an empty bottle, and then one other ingredient. But so you assume that the Nevada agave nectar was probably used to sweeten it, and the barrel cactus fruit was probably used to deliver the same taste as, or nearly the same taste as a Nuka-Cola, because it does say that it has a bunch of different fruit flavors, and so the implication of using barrel cactus fruit in the production of a homemade Nuka-Cola would be that the prevailing taste is barrel cactus fruit, which, by the way, I've heard from reading, never actually tasted one, apparently tastes fairly sour.
Ooh, I like sour drink.
Too bad we don't have a Fallout food podcast.
I'm
Cooking with Monty.
Cooking Mama style show.
There's a Tumblr that does recipes for all sorts of different video game food.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to drink a Quantum, that's for sure. That shit makes your piss glow like blue.
They died, too.
Yeah.
Radiation poisoning.
I mean, I would never flush my toilet, though, because I'd show everyone, but... Okay, next topic.
Well, now that we know that Monty's really weird.
If you didn't know that already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, next topic.
But yeah, anyways, so bottle caps. So that was my argument for why bottle caps really works within the Fallout universe. But like you said, gold does still work. I'm sure that if we found silver, it would still work. And it's obvious that new currencies are still coming into the fray because we have the NCR using, a gold-backed currency, and then we also have the Legion, which I don't think they ever talk about what the Legion's money is backed by. It might just be that it's precious metals itself.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be backed by it.
Well, how much do we know about like actual ancient Rome's currency?
They used denarius, and that's what.
Yeah, they used denarii, which was both a precious metal in and of itself, and I think it was also partially backed by the state. So it's an interesting one, though. I don't know if Caesar actually based his currency off of it, because there are obviously quite a few things that he wouldn't have been able to know about Rome just by reading a few books. He would have to do years of research just to find out some things.
Yeah, well, Caesar got a really dark, twisted depiction of Rome somehow because they weren't like a bunch of nasty slavers.
Is anyone else a Legion sympathizer here?
I like the Legion, to be honest, but
I think that if they had flushed out the Legion story as much as they had wanted to, I think I would have supported them more.
I considered the flushed out one canon.
I always thought they were the coolest, but I don't know.
They are. Why would you say they're the coolest?
Because I don't know. I like old Roman stuff. I like their armor. I like the concept of a Roman-based society.
Yeah. I love their frumentari. Oh my god, can you imagine that? Just being a spy on the other. Oh, that was always so cool to me.
Volpes and Cota.
Yeah, I mean, the NCR has spies too. Let's not forget.
Yeah, but I mean, which one of their spies was able to get super close to Caesar, whereas one of the frumentari is literally 20 feet away from the president?
Well, how can you even get that close to Caesar? Just sits in his tent all day.
That's true.
That is true.
I think that as for the slavery topic, that's a difficult thing to discuss because none of us here are, massive historians. But what I can tell you is that slavery in the ancient world was very different from slavery as Americans think about it.
Yeah, I know.
That's very true.
Slavery in the ancient world normally included some type of small wage. You were treated better. You were not necessarily property. You were a person that was a servant of a person who had purchased you, but you could purchase your own freedom. And normally the slaves were from, similar to the American system, they were a minority ethnicity or captured.
I think also, people they conquered,
Yeah. Again, we could be completely wrong about this.
Well, one thing, if we can talk about the Legion for another minute, one thing that really annoyed me in New Vegas was that you didn't get to see like a Legion city. Like I always wanted to see like what a Legion city would look like.
Well, I talked to, I don't necessarily talk to him anymore, but I've emailed him a couple times in the past. The lead designer, Josh Sawyer, he's obviously made a bunch of posts about what the Legion was supposed to be, and I just thought the Legion was a really cool concept, so I emailed him and was like, hey, what were, if you don't mind me asking, what were some of the original plans for him? They were like, obviously we were going to show Legion towns, and I think what would change a lot of people's minds in especially for the Legion, was he told me that the slaves weren't necessarily going to be the ones that we saw at the fort. Rather, they were going to be people who did certain jobs like carpentry or metalworking or something while under the watchful eye of the Legion. So the girl that we see going down with the giant backpack on her back, who has the red X on her, that she wasn't supposed to she wasn't supposed to represent what being a slave in the Legion would be, but because she's one of the few slave NPCs that we see, everyone automatically attributes her to being the face of a slave, whereas what Josh Sawyer told me was you would be able to see, or you'd go to the town and people would do their normal day-to-day work. They would just happen to be slaves, and they wouldn't be able to buy their freedom, but they were.
Yeah, and here's another thing that people don't think about is when we go to the fort, we're not looking at a Legion town by any means. We are looking at a military outpost on the front lines of a war. So the slaves may have been considered very, very differently if they were further towards Arizona.
I don't know why they didn't make
We get that even with the NCRs, that they talk about how different things are back home.
Yeah.
Well, if I could ask a question to Josh Sawyer, it would be, why didn't he make an expansion, or why didn't they make an expansion about the Legion and see some Legion towns? That would have been a better idea.
Here's the thing that I'm going to explain to you about what the Obsidian team that was working on Fallout New Vegas, their thing was that they had a very limited time and that they were very, very heavily pushed by Bethesda because of all of the licensing and and legal issues that went into having another studio make one of their properties. It's a very, very difficult process. There's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo behind it.
Yeah, of course.
So that you lose out a lot. They wanted to, like they said, they wanted to put in a Legion town, and we get a little bit of. They did a good job of giving us a little bit of a description, if you pay attention, from the merchant that's at the fort, and from Martin. Yeah, and from Rawl, the companion, and they both mention, it's very, very safe there. There are no raiders, unlike in NCR territory. Everybody's basically free to do what they want as long as they follow Caesar's lead. And when you're working within such a small time scale, you have to consider what can we cut out, what do we want to cut out, what do we not want to, because you have to admit that all 4 of the DLCs for New Vegas had very, very strong tones in each of them. And if you wanted to tell a story and make an expansion, would you rather tell a new, very, very focused story, or would you rather have it sort of as an expansion on the world that's already there?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I think it would have, if they would have just added some more depth to the Legion, whether, they cut out something else in the main game and added a Legion town, or just made it an expansion instead of one of the other expansions, that it would have really gave New Vegas more of a completeness, and more people would understand the Legion and not just hate them as, bad guy invaders who do nothing for good.
I mean, but then which one of the DLCs would you cut out?
I mean, that's a tough question. But
originally, Ulysses actually had some missing audio files for stuff about the Legion when they implemented him into the final Lonesome Room DLC. There's some files that aren't used, but they're audio files that you can access, and he talks about, I think, Caesar a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't cut out Lonesome Road because the game talks about, this other courier a lot, and the game wouldn't feel complete without it. So, I mean, that one would have to stay.
I think that the DLC that they probably could have cut, and I hate to say it because it's my favorite, is Honest Hearts. It's the one that has the least talkback with all of the other DLCs.
Yeah.
And it also has the most to do with the Legion, considering, Joshua Graham was a former Legion dude.
I think they could have probably incorporated more about the Legion into Honest Hearts.
Yeah, they could have.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where, especially for character development, Joshua doesn't want to talk a whole lot about his past. If you're literally set on fire and thrown into a canyon by these men that you used to run with, you basically used to lead, in effect, because he was, the second in command, you have to be like, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, I mean, getting off what you were saying, completely separate. I mean, like what Fallout 3 did with Broken Steel. I mean, that was the Brotherhood after the main game, going after the Enclave, and trying to wipe them out. So, I mean, if they did something similar with New Vegas, the canonical ending is most likely, the NCR, taking over. I'm pretty sure you guys discussed that in the last video. So if they did that, except the NCR trying to, wipe out the Legion, I mean, at least push them back further. I mean, they could have also made that work, I think. Like a Broken Steel type DLC for New Vegas. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it would also ruin which ending you picked.
Yeah, they could have made it work, I guess, if you chose the Legion that you're fighting against the NCR, and you know what I'm saying.
That's a lot of work, though.
That with the main story that they had written, it would be very, very difficult to work that in.
Yeah, I mean, with all the choices they made, it would be difficult. But
especially to get all the voice actors back to talk about what happened, and
if it was a Bethesda Game Studios game and they had all the time and control they wanted, I'm sure they could have done something like that. But
I'm sure, and I think that is exactly why Fallout 4 is taking so long, because they're saying two things. Is they're saying, look, we don't want to leave anything out that we want to put in. If we want to put it in, we're going to make sure that we have time to do so. Two, they're making sure that it doesn't come out as another Unity or Halo the Master Chief Collection.
Oh my god. Could you imagine that if Fallout 4 was just a buggy mess after all this time?
Oh my god, I
would cry.
I maybe would jump off a bridge.
I never encounter bugs in my games. It is the weirdest thing. Every single time. First time I started up New Vegas, I didn't encounter a single bug.
But Cameron, I'm not talking about it just being Fallout 3 or Skyrim buggy. I'm talking about it being Assassin's Creed Unity buggy.
Oh,
what that would do. What that would do to Bethesda's image.
And let's be honest, Bethesda is known for their bugs. In fact, they leave a bunch of bugs in their games because they're a lot of fun. There are certain things about Fallout where sometimes things will just go flying, and it's interesting to watch.
Or Doc Mitchell's head.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I think they ended up patching that one out. But they do have a lot of bugs in their games, but none of them are game breaking. And I think that was the big deal with Assassin's Creed Unity community, for myself, and for the Master Chief Collection. Master Chief Collection, I have to give them props because they're now mostly cleaned up. Assassin's Creed Unity, it was really where about every 5 minutes I was running into a bug that made me go, well, now I have to either fast travel away from this area and try and get back, or I have to quit out of this mission because it's broken, or I have to turn off my console completely. And those are the kind of bugs that Bethesda is saying, okay, look at what they did wrong. We're going to make sure that this game is completely finished. We're going to make sure it has every single piece of story that we want in it because we have the time.
Yeah, I guess I'm sort of a hypocrite because, if you know me at all, like on Twitter or anything, I'm always asking, when are they going to announce and release Fallout 4, blah, 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 blah. I'm not the only one. But then, when a game comes out like Unity and whatever, and the Master Chief Collection, people are like, oh, there's so many bugs. Why didn't they take longer, just make it a better game? So, I mean, it's a fine line, really.
Yeah, there's a delicate balance.
Yeah. Let's be honest, as gamers as a whole culture, we really have this idea of nothing is ever really good enough.
Yeah.
I hate that about the Fallout fan base especially. I hate how they think they deserve the new Fallout after
It does, I don't mind people complaining about it. What really bothers me is that, Pete Hines, on every single tweet that he has underneath it, it's when's Fallout 4 coming? When they went to go and support Wolfenstein when it won an award, everybody was like, where's Fallout 4? It's they have other things to do.
Go look at their Instagram. It's terrible.
Yeah, like CJ, I don't think that we deserve anything from Bethesda because they've given us a ton already. Yeah, but I mean, I just wish that they were just a little bit more, open and transparent with their fans.
I've been trying to get Eric Todd Dellums to spill the beans for years now. I've been constantly going emails back and forth, but something that he's really made clear is they're definitely, there's a reason it's taking this long, is what I think he told me.
They want to make it
as long as it's a great game, it can take as long as it needs.
Yeah, because ultimately Jordan's right. I mean, when it comes out, people will look back and they'll be like, "Oh, the wait was worth it,"
Yeah, and here's the other thing: is we also have to remember that Bethesda is very, very good at big releases. Remember how little information there was about Skyrim before they made the announcement, and people were clamoring for the next Elder Scrolls, and then all of a sudden it was this huge announcement, and Skyrim looked absolutely gorgeous. And I think that it's universally accepted that Skyrim is a very, very good game, even if it's not within your taste. You have to admit that it was a very good game. And CJ and Jordan, I know that both of you didn't enjoy Skyrim as much as, say, myself or Monty did, I know that I personally played, probably 500 hours in that game. And
I played at least 250.
Yeah, so, I mean, even if it's not...
there's enough content in that game to easily play.
For, 250 hours, yeah.
Yeah, and just thinking about the next Fallout being that massive and that great of a game is just
probably
salivating.
Here's the great thing. It's probably going to be even bigger because we're on a new generation of consoles. We're on new graphics cards. We're on new development for PC. They might even be on a completely new physics and graphics engine. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, and the thing I like to talk about that always makes me real giddy inside is Skyrim was just such a massive success, and it really transformed what the Elder Scrolls series and what Bethesda was. From kind of a, I mean, Fallout 3 was huge too. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, Skyrim was just so huge. It just made them into such a big deal and such a force to be reckoned with in, the industry. And I think Fallout 4 it's going to be even bigger than Skyrim was. And that's pretty scary. That's a pretty scary thought.
Yeah.
They have the funds for it now, too, especially with how much Skyrim sold. It's not going to be a question of whether they can achieve it. Whether they can buy it.
And how well Wolfenstein did and how well...
Wolfenstein do well?
Wolfenstein did wonderfully.
Well...
I should say reviews-wise. I don't know about sales, but it absolutely did very, very well in reviews. And how Evil Within, I know, sold fairly well, and how the Elder Scrolls Online is about to launch, and ZeniMax owns Bethesda, and so that money is probably going to trickle down in some way as well. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that, but we're actually going to get back on topic and away from Fallout 4.
Man, I just love talking about Fallout 4. I could talk about it all day.
I think that we all could, but that's sort of the point, is that we have to avoid talking about it and talking it up because we're going to get ourselves worked up into we're going to get back on the hype train.
And everything we talk about is speculation.
Yes, that as well. We have no solid evidence because for all we know, it could have been that everybody says they could have scrapped, it could have been that originally within, after New Vegas came out, they were, saying, oh yeah, maybe we will do Boston, and maybe that entire idea was scrapped and they came back with something else completely that has never been mentioned in the series. We may see Fallout Alaska. We may see Fallout Hawaii, like the subreddit wants. We may see Fallout Chicago or Fallout Florida. We don't know. So again, getting back on topic a little bit here, I wanted to ask you guys, what is your opinion of the trading system within New Vegas 3, 1, and 2? How do you think do you think it works well?
I think it's realistic.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
In that, I wouldn't expect the NCR and the Legion to have the same currency as everywhere else. You have to think about it in the way that, the U.S. is next to Canada, but they don't
have the same currency, yeah.
The same currency.
But at the exact same time, that's like saying, well, how come, Texas and New York have the same currency?
But Texas and New York are part of the same country. Like, that's, I mean...
But they are separate.
Yeah, but you have to think of the NCR and Caesar's Legion as completely separate nations.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, aside from keep going.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, aside from what you guys were talking about with, different nations or whatever, I think that the new Fallouts kind of got a little bit away from, bartering and just kind of made it like, these items are worth this, these items are worth that, sell that, get that many caps back. I think the original Fallout did the barter aspect a little better and was more realistic, that you could say, okay, I'll give you this laser pistol, so give me so many caps in return, and give me, some stim packs too, and whatever else, and some ammo. I think it was a little bit more realistic than the new Fallouts. That makes sense?
I would agree with you, and I think that moving it to where bartering is now it's basically just a skill.
They need to tie it more to your special system and more of an RPG aspect.
Bringing charisma back to...
Oh my god.
Charisma is sort of a dead special trait.
It's such a dumb stat. It makes me so mad. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. We can talk about the fact that, in all reality, the two most broken of the special skills are intelligence and charisma. Intelligence being that it's just way, 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 way overpowered, and charisma being that it has no use.
Well, I don't think it has no use because, if your speech is so high, you can just pretty much skip, a lot of important stuff in the game, like against, the fight against Legate Lanius. You can just skip that fight entirely.
I think charisma needs to be tied to, more... I've always had this idea that, so going off maybe barter in currency, and we all remember the skill checks from New Vegas, right? And how if you reach a certain threshold, it would, that you basically pass that check or something. Yeah. But we also know that not New Vegas, Fallout 3 was a percentage based. It was a random dice throw, if I'm right.
Basically it was, if you had the correct skill level for it, you reached 50 to 75% chance. Yeah. And then if it was any higher, it could go to 100%.
I think they need to tie those two together, where maybe you reach the necessary threshold with your whatever skill that is. So let's say it's barter. You're trying to get someone to sell you something for really cheap. Yeah. So maybe you need 75 barter, but then the success is based off of your charisma. So maybe if you had, God forbid, 1 charisma, maybe it's a 50% chance that it'll work. And then maybe increase it by increments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I would really like to see make a comeback is if you have a really low intelligence, you just say all these random stupid words that don't really make sense. Kind of like me sometimes. And or if you had a really low charisma, all your speech options are just really bland and boring.
Yeah,
and you're stuttering and you're shy and maybe your character's looking away from the conversation, etc., etc.
And when you try and hit on people, imagine a low charisma mixed with I don't know, the Black Widow perk.
Confirmed Bachelor or something, and you just try to hit on people.
Hit on Arcade and
maybe they just out of pity or something.
Hey, wanna come up to my room? Wink, wink.
No, it would be even worse than that. If, let's say I'm playing a female character, I'm trying to seduce Benny, really low charisma. Hey, can I blow you?
Hey, can I blow you?
Yeah,
Granted that Benny would probably still say yes, but...
Benny seems like the type to be straightforward.
Yeah. So. But here's the thing about charisma, is that strength is tied to how much weight you can carry. Mm-hmm. Endurance is tied to your resistance against radiation and your health. Agility is tied to how much action points you have. Intelligence is associated with how many skill points you get upon leveling up. Perception is based on how far out you can see enemies. And I think that in Fallout 3, but not New Vegas, it was also partially tied to your accuracy. And luck is tied to just about everything. You know, you're more likely to find things. All of your skills go up a little bit, a little bit faster.
Crit chance,
things like that.
All that
Where the dice rolls, you are much likely to get higher numbers, basically.
Yeah.
Charisma is not tied to anything like that. It has no ties to a separate mechanic. And I think that's where charisma goes wrong.
The only time I think charisma really did anything was in, I think it was Fallout 2, because you can the number of followers you can have is based off of your charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I played Fallout, I had a really high charisma because I thought it was going to be really important. I'm like, oh, charisma, I want to be this smooth-talking guy, you know. I want to have everyone like me and, you know, join me and stuff. But then it turns out that it doesn't really do anything, and I'm like, wow, I wish I didn't do that.
It's just weird that it's not tied. Like, speech is absolutely based off of a charismatic factor. So I don't understand why they wouldn't have tied it together in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, it's just weird that it's not connected to some outside mechanic like everything else.
Yeah,
and that's
like I mean, even like Skyrim, you know, a lot of times when you're talking to someone or talking to a guard, you could either like bribe them or intimidate them. I mean, it should be, if you have a high enough speech, you can always like be able to, like, you know, just convince someone or, you know, even intimidate them, you know, by just dialogue. You should always be able to just smooth talk your way out of it, you know, if you have a high enough speech.
That's something that
that's
Fallout.
what's being charismatic.
Yeah,
that's something that Fallout actually loves to kind of boast sometimes, is you don't have to kill a single enemy in some of the games.
Yeah, I mean, I really do like that, and I wish that.
Well, I mean, you can't reason with like bloat flies and stuff.
Yeah, obviously, but I mean, you can run away.
Like a bitch,
but you can,
that's fine.
Yeah, you can just run like a bitch the whole game.
You can avoid fights with just about everybody if you had, you know, the right speech level. Other than, you know, some specific raiders and things like that, you could avoid fights with just about everybody. So it's definitely interesting. Definitely interesting.
Guys, economics, what happened?
We definitely got off track, but I think that's what happens all the time.
That's all right.
But
when have we not gotten off track?
When we were talking about Fallout 4 in episode 4.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because Fallout 4 is an interesting thing to talk about.
You guys should bring that back next time.
Economics is just like, ugh.
4 weeks from now, episode 14 will be the next.
Oh, if you guys need someone else, let me know.
Yo, we're going to have like 30 guests. It's going to be an extravaganza.
All right.
Extravaganza? It'll probably be like a 14-hour episode. We'll release it in several parts.
Live stream.
Like, is going to tweet about it. It's going to be this huge thing.
There's actually even going to be
Oh my god.
No. Here's the thing. We're actually working with some movie theaters right now. It's going to be released theatrically.
Yes. A small theatric release. Then it's going right to home DVD.
Yeah, actually, in order to see the Avengers 2, you have to see ours first. Yeah, that's actually how it works. But I think that for today, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Jordan, Monty, and CJ for joining us today. It was wonderful to talk to you guys and get off topic and have a lot of fun.
Definitely.
It was fun.
I want to remind everybody that you need to come on more often, Monty.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that. Guys, I want you to keep a lookout because we did announce that there's a new show coming in February. There may be more than one, but we'll leave that for another day. Anyways, I want to leave you with a reminder that your weekly dollar is not dollars at all. Just go and find a way to give your blood, your plasma, your organs somehow to someone else. Get on bone marrow donation list. Do something and help save a couple lives out there.
But do
and
it
I also
a
want
legal
you.
way.
What?
Do it a legal way.
Do it. Yes, please do it a legal way. Don't sell your kid.
Just don't chop off your arm and just hand it to them, please.
Chop off your leg and hand it to a vet. Here you go.
I've been wanting to say that.
But
or other extraneous body parts.
Extraneous.
No.
Stop, Monty. Anyways, we'll also have an announcement about T-shirts here soon, and we just want to say have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Stay radioactive.
Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you. Okay, are we done?